Welcome everyone to the Fringe Finance Tech Space with Yearn Finance. As I'm sure you already know, we are launching our virtual platform tomorrow at 11 p.m. UTC, and you'll be able to access on app.fringe.finance. We are doing a series of X Space with protocols that will have their tokens integrated into Fringe. So today we are talking with Yearn Finance, and wife holders will be able to deposit and earn interest from lending activities, use it as collateral when borrowing, and increase their exposure, the leverage, using our Amplify facility, and they also can use it in margin trading as a part of the trading pair. So today we're happy to welcome Korn, a contributor on Yearn Finance, and we will talk about Yearn and its integration with Fringe Finance V2 on our Ethereum market. We also have with us our CTO, Brian, who will tell us about our upcoming V2 and all the exciting things our users and wife holders will be able to do on our platform. So, Korn, please introduce yourself and explain Yearn for those few who don't know what it is and why yield farm automation is so important on crypto today. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So I'm Corn, and I have been a Yearn contributor for over 2 years now, since like the top of the top in November 2021. I was building networks and data centers for hospitals for 10 years before that, so I was in the IT space, and I left and started contributing to Yearn. And what we do is we build automated yield farming vaults and strategies, so people don't have to be an expert in farming yield or reading code, and we do all of that for them. And we do it for the B2B space also, and I'll explain more about that later. And another thing I did back earlier this year was I started Y Audit also, which is a professional services firm. We do audits for all kinds of projects in the DeFi space. That's definitely the area of strength for us. And that came out of a program called Y Academy that was started by a Yearn contributor back in 2021 also, where we have quarterly education blocks for auditors so we can help scale the needs of security in the crypto space, because that's super important to us and it should be important to everybody too in crypto. So yield farming can be very complicated. There are a lot of like daily tasks that have to be done and things that have to be monitored, and a strength of Yearn has always been to develop frameworks to like make that yield consumable by people who don't have the time to manage all the like complexity of yield farming. So if someone needs to like import or access a trusted source of yield, that has been historically like the market we want to address.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think you already touched this topic, but how was the evolution from the initial idea to the current protocol and the V3 version of it?
Yeah, so Yearn originally started out trying to find safe sources of yield because there were so many risky ones out there. And we had people to go and check the code, make sure things are reliable, make sure that there was not going to be a lot of slippage if there were big deposits made, making sure that there was no exposure to impermanent loss or other like types of loss. if Yearn made a strategy for a project, it was like a stamp of approval in many ways. And doing that in the initial like idea of V2, Yearn V2, is very time consuming for us. There was a limited pool of skilled developers who were capable of like doing this consistently. And because we weren't chasing the highest number, like the highest APY, we definitely lost a lot of deposits because of that. But it put us in a spot where Yearn never had a UST vault. We never had exposure like to that collapse there, and it was really safe. And our biggest strength, our biggest like positive result in go-to-market strategy was B2B yield. So there were CDPs out there like Abracadabra, Alchemix, who were looking for trusted sources of yield. They had a product that they wanted to build on top of that yield, but they didn't have like the staff or the resources to do all the day-to-day maintenance and like all of the exploration of the code of the sources of yield they're farming. So we offered that and more because we had a fee sharing partner program too. So at one point back in 2021 and 2022, we were like a significant source of revenue, paying out like 300K a month in that fee sharing program to some of those partners. That was our focus back then, and today B2B is probably our strongest go-to-market too.
Great. And you mentioned that on V2, it was too time consuming to do all research. And I don't know, a few months ago, you guys released V3. So
Yeah.
what's basically the difference between those two?
So there are some technological differences, of course. In V2, you had a vault, and then you could have up to 20 strategies operating in that vault. And all of the strategies were and are sourced by Yearn strategists, like Yearn contributors. And they have like a security audit done on all of them. And if you wanted to be in that vault, you had to have exposure to all of those strategies. You couldn't like pick and choose what ones you wanted to access. And there was a MakerDAO proposal that we did to onboard $100 million of their USDC PSM funds. And they didn't want to have access to some of the strategies that we had in particular vaults. So we had to go and think up how to do something bespoke for them. And right after that happened, a bunch of other partners came to us and were like, we want to do the same thing. So Vaults V3 is an evolution of V2, and it also uses the 4626 standard. So basically in V3, you don't have to have exposure to all of these strategies that occur in a vault because each strategy is technically its own vault. And this creates a more composable structure of yield because people can now like pick and choose what they want to have access to in V3. So that's like the main technological difference. Another difference that we're rolling out is now that we've kind of abstracted away some of the complexity of managing strategies and vaults, we want to enable others in the crypto community to use these vaults whenever they need to have a vault technology. So the original V2 model was to reward strategists with a percent of the vault fees, and those strategists could be anyone. But like I was saying before, there wasn't a big enough pool of skilled developers to reliably or be like consistent enough about their security models and make sure that everything was bulletproof. So we had to vet strategists and have them be like internal resources, but now they could be, in theory, anybody, because there's a much larger audience, a much larger pool of qualified developers who can build on this stuff. So the new Yearn V3 strategies could technically not just be the traditional up-only strategies. They could be risk on. They could have access to, or they could have exposure to impermanent loss. They could have strategies that use projects like GMX as a source of yield, or like options projects as a source of yield. The addressable amount of like strategies is going to be much larger because of this, and I think that we'll see Yearn vaults used in a lot of cases that we haven't seen before, just because of that. So
Nice, very
in
nice.
V3, the fees default to 0. So you could use Yearn vault technology for free if you don't have a fee on it, because we want everyone using it. We want it to be like a commoditized framework. We want it to be everywhere. So that's the new go-to-market for us.
Great. Thanks, Corin. That was a quite overview of the protocol and the evolution. But I have a specific question about your token, Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So can you tell us how it was created, what was the idea behind it, and what is the current use case for it?
So I was still building stuff in IT back in 2020. That was like pretty much right after like the height of the IT madness because of the pandemic. Like I had to stand up a whole bunch of hospitals in the area that I live in, and like field hospitals. This is very time consuming, and I didn't have a lot of other extra time to focus on what was going on in crypto. But I know that it was originally a valueless governance token that was farmed by like depositing assets into a vault, and there was a pool too for it. So whenever you provided liquidity, you received more tokens, more Wi-Fi tokens also. And I don't exactly remember why it was called pool two, but pool two is the term for like the trading pair that was the governance token against the stable or Ethereum. But Wi-Fi, it was viewed and is still viewed today as like one of the original DeFi tokens. It's available on like every exchange you can imagine, and it's on a lot of DeFi indexes too. I was at a conference, like a banking conference a couple of years ago, and I ran into a bunch of people who were selling their like DeFi indexes, and they all had Wi-Fi token in it. So the case for Wi-Fi is that it controls the governance of Yearn, and that was the purpose then, and it's the purpose now too. And through its like multiple governance evolutions, it now receives bought back Wi-Fi also through the new V-Wi-Fi model. V-Wi-Fi that was passed in governance like a year and a half ago, I think, and it was implemented this year. And it's a VE style program similar to like vCurve, and you lock Wi-Fi from anywhere between like 1 week and 4 years, and you can receive boosted rewards. So if you're familiar with how the curve system works, it's just like that. If you deposit into a vault that has a V-Wi-Fi gauge, like the Wi-Fi ETH curve pool, you can stake all of your locked V-Wi-Fi and receive a boosted yield. And if you don't have enough locked V-Wi-Fi to get to that max boost, the balance of that yield goes back to the other V-Wi-Fi lockers. So with V-Wi-Fi, you're farming, when you are farming the boosted yield, you're farming D-Wi-Fi, which is discounted Wi-Fi. And basically what that means is when you harvest that, you can take advantage of a big discount on that Wi-Fi by depositing some ETH for it. So there's a 84% discount on D-Wi-Fi today. So if you were to redeem If you had like 4D Wi-Fi and you were to redeem all of that, you'd have to deposit 2.5 ETH. So you would be depositing 6K to redeem 36K of Wi-Fi. That would be the discount. So you could always redeem your locked Wi-Fi. There is a hit you take for doing so, but that's the model, and that's the new V-Wi-Fi model. And I know a lot of people in the community are actively thinking about more ways to like make it useful in the future and have it apply to more gauges in the future. So that is how Wi-Fi started and where it is today.
Great. So we are here to improve the use case. So let me pass to our CTO, Brian, that we will explain how Fringe Finance integrates Wi-Fi into our protocol and what Wi-Fi holders can do on Fringe Finance V2. So Brian, please step in.
Thanks, Tiago. And Korn, thanks so much for your rundown there. It's very interesting. It's quite a rich set of facilities that you guys are offering the DeFi space. And that's fantastic, you know, because this space is just growing. And with these kinds of innovative features that you guys are offering, it gives people far more options and far more utility to exercise their complex financial strategies. And just hand in hand with that, we think we've got a number of facilities that particularly support some of the things that Yearn have been championing, particularly in the ERC 4626 space. We think we have a number of unique utilities that support that standard, but we'll talk about that in a second. For those who are unfamiliar with Fringe, let me talk very briefly about Fringe and what we're bringing to market, because we've put quite a bit of effort into this to make sure that it is quite a unique offering and provides a good set of utilities for a broad set of users. So one of our core values is security, and we're in the process of releasing with our V2 our new price oracle model. And particularly what that is designed to do is to protect against price oracle attacks. There have been $400 million in 2022 of exploits through price oracle attacks, and in 2021 it was almost 400 million. So we've got some great technologies there that we think are very much needed in the DeFi space to protect against that. We have written a paper on that, and some of that and further details are available in our blog. And I'm presenting a paper at an upcoming ETH conference that describes some of that in detail. And what are some of the other things that people can do with I'll talk about the governance token of Yearn at the moment. We see our support as an important part of the DeFi to provide a set of facilities. And currently we support Wi-Fi on Ethereum, and we're in the process of assessing the Wi-Fi to determine whether we can list that also. So our platform, in a nutshell, is a lending and margin trading platform. So lenders can obtain yield on their governance tokens, and they receive interest payments from borrowers. And also holders of the governance token can use that as collateral for taking out loans. And we support on Ethereum. Today we support, and as of the go live of our V2 platform, tomorrow we'll be supporting in the range of 30 assets on Ethereum, and that will be ramping up to over 100 assets on Ethereum. And that means not only can one lend and borrow those assets, but we can use those assets within our leverage trading facilities. We've got 2 leverage trading facilities. One is called Amplify and the other one is called Margin Trade. Amplify allows users to gain additional exposure to their token, Wi-Fi in this case, against the quote token, which is USD or USDC. For example, if you have $10,000 of Wi-Fi, you can extend your exposure to, say, $25,000 of Wi-Fi through our Amplify facility. And so if you see a trading opportunity and a price appreciation opportunity there, then you can take advantage of that. Not only that, going long on an asset, but you can choose through our margin trade facility to take a leverage position with any of the supported pairs of assets on our platform. And so the combinations there are quite large, and our supported assets vary from chain to chain because different assets are supported on each of the different chains. But that allows, if one sees a shorting opportunity to go short with any particular asset, then it's possible through our margin trade facility. And all of this is alive today on our app v2.fringe.fi site until we swap it over to app.fringe.fi tomorrow. And Wi-Fi can be used either on the long side or the short side of those positions. And we use spot markets, which are third-party liquidity pools, so that people can take out these positions with minimal price impact. And that is part of our strategy around delivering these utilities to the DeFi users that minimize costs for them. Now, there are a few personas that can participate, which are retail users and the Yearn DAO itself. For example, retail users, as I mentioned, can participate in all of those facilities that we offer, but also the DAO can participate by, for example, gaining interest by loaning out their Wi-Fi tokens, and also to use the Wi-Fi tokens as collateral to take out loans, such as a stablecoin loan, to fund project operations. So there are a number of things there that we think are quite compelling for both retail users and also DAOs. There are other aspects of our platform that we think, again, are quite innovative, and particularly around a new interest rate model that targets a utilization rate rather than an interest rate. So, and it's an advancement on some of the more simplistic interest rate models used by other lending platforms. And there's a number of benefits with this. We see a couple of the primary benefits are better capital utilization, capital efficiency of lender assets. So it seeks an optimal utilization rate and therefore aims to lend out more of the lender assets rather than those lender assets sitting idly. They will tend to be lent out more and therefore collecting interest from borrowers. And we see that as quite important. Also, this results in less volatility of the interest rate because whales moving in and out of a lending pool will not dramatically affect the interest rate immediately. So there's more certainty in the interest rate for both borrowers and lenders there. So we think that is quite important. I think maybe I talk very briefly about ERC 4626 support and why we think this is quite an exciting aspect of this call with Yearn Finance. So we are, within the coming weeks, providing specific support for ERC 4626 tokens. And what that allows those token holders to do is then participate in any of those facilities that are mentioned, such as lending, borrowing, or our leveraged trading facilities to then utilize or deploy their assets for any of those use cases. And we'll be evaluating candidate 4626 vaults and tokens and list them on our platform where relevant. And some of the key considerations for assessing vaults are where there is low composability risk. If the vault has fairly straightforward strategies that that don't overly rely upon third party and then fourth party and fifth party protocols, then they are more likely for us to list, just to ensure that the stability and the protection of our lending platform is maintained. And also where the vault allows ready access to the underlying assets in a timely manner. And that is primarily around the notion of to facilitate liquidations, because liquidators will be reluctant to liquidate if the underlying assets are not immediately available. So these 4626 vaults and strategies will have their own properties, and we'll assess them on a case-by-case basis. So those 4626 tokens can be used as collateral to lend out and to gain additional yield, as well as on our leveraged trading facilities. And we think that this offers Yearn and the 4626 token holders a wide variety of really unique utilities. And we hope that the community finds this attractive and comes to our venue. So that's what I wanted to just mention in a nutshell, But back over to you, James, or Tiago.
Okay, thank you. Well, that's it was a good overview of our platform, and also what wife holders can do it. So they can lend the assets, use it as a collateral, amplify their exposure, and also use it as on margin trading. But you touched a good topic about the ERC 4626 standard, and Yearn has a huge contribution on that. So, Korn, for those that doesn't know exactly what it is, can you provide an overview of it?
Yeah, sure. So a long time ago, when you wanted to integrate a source of yield, you had to build your own adapter for it, because the source of yield for Curve was different than the one from Compound. And when you build those adapters, there's additional complexity. There's additional risk from smart contract risk. There's additional time that it takes to develop, and overall, those engineers can be doing other things that are more productive. So Joey Santoro and a bunch of other people, including a Yearn contributor who actually designed V2 vaults, who's still in the space today, they made this 4626 standard. And basically what that does is it tokenizes the yield. So a yield source from Curve is the same as a yield source from Compound. And the way it is standardized on is by creating shares of that vault, shares of that yield. So someone who has a larger deposit than another person will have more shares than another person, and it is literally that simple. So if Fringe wanted to now accept 4626 vault standards, they could accept 4626 vaults from Yearn, from any other 4626 standard project out there. So composability is key here, and it's something that the industry definitely needed.
No, thank you for the explainer. And one question that I forgot to ask before: where V3 is currently deployed? Which chains?
So right now, Right now, V3 is on Polygon proof of stake. That is the home that it has out of the gates, and we have actually a bunch of Matic bounties going on and a bunch of Matic boosting going on for those vaults that are there today. In a few months, V3 will have a final deployment on a lot of other layer 2s and mainnet also. So the goal is to have this everywhere. But to start, we were looking for an ecosystem that had a lot of TVL, a lot of opportunities to have good sources of yield, and was most similar to mainnet, but with lower gas costs. So Polygon proof of stake was the place to go.
Nice, real nice. So just a quick recap, and we will open for community questions. So if you want to make a question, please request access, and we will give to you. So basically, right now, we are going to integrate Wi-Fi into our V2 platform that will be launched, going live tomorrow at 11 p.m. UTC. And Wi-Fi token holders will be able to use it, like I mentioned before, as a collateral, as you can increase your exposure to it. You can use it on margin trades. You can lend, and our V2 Wi-Fi will be on our Ethereum market, but we are going to be live on Ethereum, Optimism, Arbitrum, ZK Sync, and so Polygon as well. So we'll have like 5 chains. We'll have over 100 assets on launch, and we are going to enable Wi-Fi right now, and then later you'll be able to use your token share from 4626 vault and use it on the platform too. So this is a quick overview of what we discussed today. So I want to open the floor for the community. If you guys have any other questions, please let us know. So I'm giving you some extra time here and stalling a little bit. So right now I want to thank Corn for your availability to be here with us to explain Yearn and also to explain your tokens so we can have a better view of it. And also I want to thank our CTO Brian for the time that you enabled to be with us here to explain our platform for our newcomers. And guys, do you have any questions? If not, we are going to end this space and we are going to have some announcements. So the first announcement is that tomorrow at 11 a.m. UTC time, we will have an AMA for our launch. So me, Brian, and also Konstantin, our CMO, will be here to answer your questions and also the strategy, the roadmap. So you'll be able to do whatever questions that you guys want to do about the upcoming launch and also about the next steps. And tomorrow is the 25th. On the 26th, we will also have another X-Space that you see the tweet announcement in a few moments. So we have a lot of activities right now surrounding our launch. We have our campaign Optimism, so you can use our platform and also get rewards for it. And I think that's it is all the announcements that I have for now. So parting words, Brian, do you have anything else to add?
No, I just wanted to thank Korn for his time and effort here. That's really appreciated. It's really good to have these discussions and to cross-pollinate with the various communities and teams here, because I think these are, it's a great project and we want to support that as much as possible. And we're trying to do the right engineering, both from just providing facility, but at the same time strengthening and making the platforms as secure as possible. So yeah, it's a really fun game and it's great to talk to you, Colin.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I know in the future there are plenty of other 4626 Yearn vaults that we can add like YETH to this. So I know we'll talk about that at some point.
Yes, yeah, let's keep up the dialogue. Fantastic.
Yes, so thank you, Corin. I saw that someone raised his hand to make a question. Do you want to make a question or not? I'll give you some time. So, okay. So that's it, guys. Thank you a lot for being with us. Thank you once again, Corin. We will definitely talk more about 4626 tokens. And for the rest of you guys, see you tomorrow.